Hello friends, welcome to our channel Keep Growing. Today we'll talk about the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, an international bestseller, world famous book on personal finance. This book was written in 1997 by Robert Kiyosaki and since then has been sold over 40 million copies worldwide. Today we'll talk about the lessons we can learn from this book. At the very beginning of the book, the writer has talked about two dads, poor dad and rich dad. One is his own dad, who is referred as poor dad. Actually, he is the representative of the poor and middle class society. On the other hand, there is the rich dad, who is actually his friend Mike's dad, from whom he has learned all the financial lessons in his life. This rich dad is the representative of the upper class, the rich people of the society. Then he has done a comparative study on this rich dad and poor dad, actually which is a comparative study between these two classes of people. The poor dad was a PhD holder. The rich dad was 8th pass. Poor dad struggled financially despite his PhD degree and everything, whereas the rich dad was financially successful because he had financial education. The poor dad was a government employee, rich dad was a businessman. The poor dad left debts and unpaid bills for his family after his death, whereas the rich dad left assets and money for his family. There was this basic difference in their mindsets. The poor dad told his children to study hard so that they can get job. The rich dad told his children to study hard so that they can give jobs to other people. Poor dad used to say that love of money is the cause of all problems. The other dad said lack of money is cause of all problems. The poor dad always referred to any luxury items that I can't afford it, whereas the rich dad said, how can I afford it? Poor dad said, don't take risk. Rich dad said, learn to manage your risk. And this basic difference in their mindsets made all the difference in their financial statement. Now let's come to the lessons the rich dad taught the author and his friend Mike. Lesson 1. Rich don't work for money. Poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. Here, the author shows us that people's lives are controlled by two emotions, fear and greed. The life cycle of common people is quite like this. They get up in the morning, they grab a cup of coffee, rush to an office where they don't enjoy the work at all, but they push through the work so that at the end of the month they get the paychecks. And the moment they get the paychecks in their hand, they buy the luxury items, whatever they want, the expensive car, the expensive phone, a house, whatever. And then the next day again, this fear of losing all this, losing this standard of lifestyle and everything, he is again going to the office, the work that he doesn't enjoy. And again and again and again, this cycle goes on. Whereas the life cycle of a rich person revolves very differently. He gets up in the morning, he goes to the work with positive energy, to the work which he enjoys, which has a purpose and meaning to him. At the end of the month, he earns the money from that work, and with that money, the first thing he does is he buys assets, real estate, stocks, bonds, assets which put money in his pocket. And then with this money that is generated from his assets, then he buys whatever he wants, like the expensive cars, phones, etc. So his asset columns keeps growing stronger, and this drives him again the next day to go to the work and make more money. This is the life cycle of a rich man. Then in lesson 2, the author talks about the importance of financial literacy. We all know the name of these famous people, this famous actor Nicolas Cage, Wimbledon champion Boris Becker, football legend Ronaldinho, and boxing legend Mike Tyson. All these people, they were tremendously successful in their professional lives and they made huge amount of money. But with lack of financial knowledge, they lost all their fortunes and became bankrupt. And the very beginning of the financial literacy, it begins with this very basic knowledge, the difference between assets and liability. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liability are the things that take money out of your pocket. Like if you buy a luxurious house to live for, this is a liability. If you buy a luxurious car for you, luxurious and expensive phone for yourself, all of these are liabilities because these are taking money out of you. These are not generating any money for you. Whereas if you buy, instead of a home where you want to stay, instead of a house where you want to stay, you buy a real estate, a commercial property. This puts money in your pocket. If you rent your car in, say, Uber, then this is your asset. That real estate property is your asset, and of the stocks, bonds, debentures, all of that you are buying, all of these are assets because they are putting money in your pocket. Rich people buy asset. Middle class people buy liability, which they think as asset. Maybe like the house you're gonna buy next, think twice. Let's come to the financial statement of poor dad and rich dad. We see that in case of poor dad, income and expense are almost same. In rich dad, income is more than the expenses. In case of poor dad, asset column is very weak, liability is more. But in case of rich dad, his asset column is stronger than the liability. That's why poor gets poorer and rich gets richer. Lesson 3. Mind your own business. The rich focus on their asset column while everyone else focuses on their income statement. Here the author tells us a story inspired by real life. Ray Kroc, who is known as the founder of McDonald's, once went to give a lecture in the University of Texas MBA class. He asked the students, "What business I'm in?" The students started to laugh, and one fellow gathered up some courage and said that, "Sir, who doesn't know you? You are the owner of the world's largest hamburger business." It was time for Ray Kroc to laugh. He said that, "No, I'm not in hamburger business. My business is real estate." What happened is, what everyone sees as a hamburger business, in reality, what McDonald's Corporation does, whenever they give franchisee to a person, the franchisee of McDonald's, first they buy that property where that McDonald's store is going to be built. And then that person takes the lease of that real estate from McDonald's Corporation. And whenever you go to any famous part of the world, any prominent spots in the prominent cities, everywhere you will see a McDonald's. That means that real estate is owned by the McDonald's Corporation. In this way, McDonald's has become the single largest owner of real estate in the world, even bigger than the Catholic Church. Through this story, the author wants to teach us this lesson that whatever you're doing apparently to make money, like your day job, keep it, but buy real assets. Make an empire out of it, just like Ray Kroc with his hamburger business made a real estate empire. Lesson 4. Power of corporation. Here is again the basic difference between business owners with corporations and employees who work for the corporations. In case of a corporation, after they generate the money from their business, they spend it in their expenditure. After that, whatever money is left, with that they pay taxes. But in case of the employees or whoever the individual person paying income tax, first they get the income, the money, then they pay the income tax. After that, whatever is left with them, they spend for themselves. In this way, again, the rich gets richer and poor gets poorer. And this is the power of corporation. And again, when you are working for money, you are giving your power to your employer. But if money works for you, you keep the power and control. Lesson 5. The rich invent money. Often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. Again, there is a story. When Alexander Graham Bell invented telephone, he went to Western Union to sell his patent for only $100,000. But they refused. But he didn't give up. He founded AT&T company, and these days the market capital of AT&T is $200 billion. The single powerful asset we have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth. Lesson 6. Work to learn. Don't work for money. Once, Robert Kiyosaki was interviewed by a journalist who told him that she was also a writer. She wrote a novel, but it didn't sell well. She wanted to leave her job as a journalist and wanted to become a full-time writer. So Robert Kiyosaki advised her to get enrolled in a sales class. But she didn't take it in a good way. She said that, oh, I have a master's degree in English literature. Why would I want to learn sales, like a salesperson? She refused it. Then the author is telling that he is not even a good writer, but he knows how to sell. And all the books are bestsellers. And then there was a person who had a master's in English literature and who was a very good writer. If he or she had the knowledge of selling, it would be a greater success. Their books will be bestsellers. But what happens in case of adults, once we finish our school educations and college educations degrees, we become rigid and we don't want to acquire new skills. And that is the end of our financial life. So, job security means everything to the middle class, like the educated dad. But learning means everything to the rich people. And with constant learning, you will constantly grow and make your asset column stronger. And this is why, again, rich gets richer, poor gets poorer. So, that's all for today. Thank you for viewing. If you like it, please subscribe our channel, press the bell icon, like, share, comment. See you again with another amazing video.